Okay.
Okay.
Okay, Sean. Since you're our star patient, we just wanted to interview you today and hear your entire story. When did you start getting sick? I know you wrote us up a testimonial and you mentioned something about being 8.
Yeah, that's when I first noticed that I was feeling different than I did before, and I couldn't really put my finger on exactly what the difference was. I just kept getting sick a lot with colds and didn't seem to have as much energy as I remembered having.
Aw.
And then it just progressively kept getting worse and worse.
Oh. 8-year-olds should have tons of energy.
I agree.
And you just didn't have energy.
Mm-mm.
What were some of the other symptoms that you can remember?
A lot of it was more on the kind of the, I don't want to say muscular. I mean, my muscles felt it, but I think it was mostly the way my nerves were affected. I just felt a little bit of a lack of coordination, a lack of being able to think in depth about a topic. It seemed like when I was working through something in my mind, I would get to a point and then I would forget what I had already considered and been thinking about, and so I could only scratch the surface kind of on problem solving and thinking about those types of things.
Did you have a hard time concentrating on? Okay.
Yeah, it was really tough to concentrate.
And what made you think that you had food allergies? I remember you said you started eliminating foods because you thought it was allergies.
Yeah, it wasn't until I was about 27 actually, where I heard that people were allergic to something called gluten. I had never even been exposed to allergies of that type before. And at first I was a little skeptical because a lot of the people that I heard that had that allergy had digestive issues. And as far as the digestion went, I felt I was doing okay. It was just the effect of how my my muscles and nerves and brain were affected after I ate. So I wasn't quite sure about that at first, and then I tried cutting out gluten, and went to the doctor, got tested, did a blood test. They tested for some sort of antibody that would show if I had a gluten intolerance.
Right.
And that showed up in the blood test, which kind of confirmed what I felt from cutting the gluten out, that it did have a big effect on me.
Oh.
But it was really it was a difference, and it was a big difference, but compared with everything else that was still hitting me, it was relatively a small difference.
Oh. So it just wasn't solving the whole problem.
Yeah.
So then did you start trying to cut out other things?
I did. I also heard that some people that have the gluten intolerance also have that reaction to dairy. And so I tried to cut that out. And then I tried to eat the gluten-free stuff, the crackers and the breads, and I still felt sick. And so I tried to cut certain things out, but then I still felt sick.
Oh.
And then I would try and narrow down from what I would eat, kind of guess, well, what was still making me sick.
Yeah.
And then I'd try and cut that out. And I felt a little better. And up to about where, probably about a year ago, is when I cut out almost everything that I could and still barely survived.
Oh.
So it was soy, gluten, potatoes, rice, dairy, so pretty much everything.
Wow.
I tried to cut out, but in the end I just had to put up with it and kind of minimize it and eat and be sick. So I would pay attention to what I had to do throughout the day. So if I had to do something important at a certain time, I would eat either afterwards or before, enough to where I could recover a little bit afterwards.
Wow.
So it was just a big roller coaster for me, and it was exhausting. I mean, I was just barely making it through every day.
Oh my goodness. So you needed to eat for calories to have enough, but it actually made you feel sick to
Yeah.
eat. Oh,
So I got the calories so I wasn't starving, but then I was sick.
Oh.
And so sometimes I'd get to the point where I would just wait and just keep getting more hungry and hungry because I didn't want to feel sick, and then the hunger outweighed what I would feel sick after eating, so I would eat a lot of times at that point.
So did you lose a lot of weight? Were you really?
I was pretty steady because I was pretty thin to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
In high school, I was probably about 145.
Oh, that's pretty thin.
Yeah, and then after high school, probably a few years after high school, I went up to about 155. And then I went up to maybe about 160. So between 155 and 160 is where I fluctuated. No matter what I ate,
Oh, okay.
I was always right in there.
Your body was in survival mode, huh?
Yeah.
Hanging on to everything possible.
Yep.
Oh. So then, was it your father or somebody that heard our radio program and
Yeah.
said, give us a call? And
My father-in-law heard the program and called up my wife while we were out eating breakfast somewhere, and said they heard this radio program that if you call you can get a free consultation, and he said that they heard some good testimonials, and I think one of them was about walnut allergy.
Right. That's a good one to hear.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so we called. I think I called the same day, maybe even. Set up the time to come in to get a consult, and at that point I'd gone to so many doctors and specialist doctors that claimed to be able to treat allergies, and the real only advice I got was just stay away from what you're allergic to.
Oh.
And it was no solution at all for me.
Yeah.
And so I was willing to try anything, honestly,
Yeah.
to come in, and I had very low expectations. I thought whatever I tried might help to some degree, but I really had no anticipation or hope that the problem would be completely solved.
Wow. So when you started treatments, when did you start noticing improvements?
For me, it was probably about 4 or 5 treatments in that I could really tell a significant difference. Not that I was that cured, but with everything that was hitting me, I could tell a difference about 4 or 5 in doing the autoimmune treatments, and then just every treatment after that, it was just one more layer where I just kept feeling a little better, and for me, it wasn't until we were done with all of the food allergies and the treatments that I really felt good almost all of the time.
Wow.
And before, I didn't feel good anytime.
Yeah.
I was just tolerable probably for about half the day, and the other half I was just out of it.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah,
Wow. Seems like the sicker you are, the more improvement you can see.
it's true.
So you were really
Yeah.
sick.
Yeah, I was. And I was really used to paying attention to how my body felt and how it reacted to the different foods. And I could tell by how I felt what was in each food,
Oh.
by the effect it had on me after I ate it.
Yeah.
And so I was really sensitive to changes in my body.
That's good.
Yeah.
Huh. So after going through, how many treatments did it take? How many are all the foods and all the autoimmune and all the environmental? So there's 3 different areas. Is it like 24 treatments or?
Yeah, overall I think it was 27 or 28. 24 was in the original treatment, and then I was tested for more specific things that might have been hidden by some of my other allergies.
Oh, okay.
And so those few things came out. So it was a total of 27, and probably right about the halfway point of my treatment schedule, so half of the 24, the 12th is when I really noticed that I was feeling good probably most of the day.
Oh, good. So do you feel like you're like 90% better or 100% better? Or?
I feel, honestly, it's hard to say because I don't really know how good I can feel.
Yeah.
but as good as I feel, I would feel like I'm about 90 to 100% all the time.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Huge
maybe a normal
difference.
person feels that way, and you haven't felt that way for so
Yeah.
long. You don't know what normal feels
Yeah,
like.
I didn't. No, I knew what normal felt like for a 7-year-old,
Aw.
but for the time period between then and now, I just had no idea.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I just knew what my reality was.
Yeah. So now, what does it feel like when you eat a meal? You feel okay?
I
You
feel
feel-
good. Yeah, I'm able to eat more because I don't get sick halfway through
Oh, good.
the meal, so I eat a lot better. I have more interest in a lot of different foods. I don't have to plan out when I'm going to eat and exactly what I'm going to eat. I just kind of plan out what tastes good and just go from
Oh,
there.
good.
Yeah.
And do you notice any difference, like at work? Do you have more energy
Mhm.
at work, and can you concentrate better and those kind of things?
Yeah, definite huge improvement in my energy level and just being able to concentrate. And I think a big factor as well is just my outlook, feeling good and having the knowledge that I can feel good and really feel like myself really helps my outlook. And I actually wrote down in the testimonial that the past few months at work, my energy level and focus at work has just been that much better that I just recently got a promotion.
Yeah, that's great. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, you know, when you feel rotten, you just don't feel like
Mhm.
doing anything else. It's hard to think
Yeah.
about anything else. It's hard to concentrate on anything else.
Mhm.
That's why it's good to have a good, healthy body that feels
Yeah.
good.
Yep, I was in survival mode in my life, and that carried over to my work, and so I was just trying to do what I could to get through the day,
Yeah.
and that was my objective,
Oh,
was
yeah.
just to get through the day.
Well, I bet your bosses are thrilled
Yeah.
that you feel so much better.
Yep, they are.
That's great.
Definitely are.
Oh, that's great.
Mhm.
Well, thank you so much for letting us videotape
Of course.
you.
Of course.